SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
2 days from the big day. Whew. I hope all the shopping's done. I hope everything's good and exciting. I just want to remind you all that I am doing a stream today as well. At the afternoon game stream.
I'm gonna bet your shopping's not done.
Oh, my shopping was well done.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's done. I'm an early shopper.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's done. Done.
You didn't even wait for the Trudeau discount?
No, I didn't actually, because most stores aren't even offering it because they can't change their point of service because, boy, they don't really think through stuff in Canada.
I regret bringing that up.
I know.
I regret.
It just bothers me so deeply.
I regret.
Adam,
Sorry.
I'm spoiling this for you, but I got you the perfect Christmas gift.
What is it?
I know exactly what I'm going to get you. A trash bin, so that you can throw out all the other gifts you get as quickly as
Yes. Well, listen, no one likes to see me coming more than the donation bin
on
on Boxing Day.
Oh no.
Like, do
Where will I
you
put
wait
this?
until the clock turns over and you drive down the street like midnight?
The best thing to get me now is like a gift card for like the Apple bookstore, so I can just download more audiobooks. That's all I need.
You old man.
That's all. Well, because that's what I like doing. I like listening
Books?
to audiobooks.
Nerd. Nerd. Who reads books?
Hi, and welcome to the holiday episodes. Today's going to be an all questions episode, and I'm kind of excited because Jesse has. Jesse, how have you formulated this? We have a bowl of questions. If you look at Jesse, right, or if you look at the three shot here.
So you would have heard us explain it on one of the pre-Christmas episodes, but every episode I got some sort of gimmick ready for us.
All right.
Today's gimmick, if you want to call it that, is all questions. So all questions from the Discord over the last couple months that we have not gotten to during the actual press conference.
Yes.
So I've compiled all the extra stuff into a little bowl that if you're listening, you don't see the little bowl, but if you're watching, this is the little bowl. It'll sit on our desk here, and we will rotate 1, 2, 3 down the line, and each pick the question and read it. Steve, because your name is on the show, you may start off, and you are very antsy to grab this bowl.
Damn.
So that is what we're doing today. Go right ahead.
All right.
Picking the one right on top. Dark Knight, sent December 4th,
You don't need to read.
12:09 a.m. This is the Steve Dangle podcast, and I feel like Steve goes to Leaf games the least out of everyone. How come, Steve? Obviously, being a dad and all comes first, but LFR after every game and your own Leafs/NHL podcast, but you rarely go to games? Question mark, question mark? So it's
You really put a lot into reading this.
Yeah, that was artistic, I would say.
but you rarely go to games? It's not conscious. Like, it's not on purpose. Listen, there's a bunch of factors. Number one, and this is just the nakedest, most blatant one. I have a kid under a year, and there are a lot of times I'm just like, going downtown? Don't think so. Don't think so, actually.
Yeah.
And I want to spend time with them. Then there's the added factor of, okay, so I'm going to the game. Then what do I do for LFR? How do I do it night of? Do I just shoot it late? I could shoot it late. What if I have LFR the next morning? Oh, okay, well then you just shoot it the next morning. Oh, wait, no, you have to get up for the podcast the next morning. So there are a lot of times where like, unless Drew is down there with me to shoot it, it becomes difficult. But I am going to the game tonight. This afternoon. Because this wasn't recorded ahead of time at all. Ooh. I like Leaf games being a treat.
Yeah. Let's also just throw out there, it's kind of expensive.
Yeah, who can just go to Leaf games?
Like, do you know someone that goes often that isn't born into generational wealth? Because I don't. Everybody that I know that goes often is wealthy.
I got a buddy, one of my best friends, Ton. His boss at work has season tickets, and I think the boss has had them like forever. And Ton's one of his favorites, so Ton's always down there at games. And he's gotten to the point where he's gotten bougie with the Leafs tickets, is because he'll only sit in the flag section, I'll call it. Where
the flag comes over you?
You know where the flag comes over
Yeah.
you because you're sitting right ice side, not in the corners. You're right on the glass, on the bench side or the penalty box side. Like
Picky.
That's where his boss's tickets are. So he'll get those all the time. So when he like gets another pair of free tickets from someone else and they're in the corners, or God forbid they're in the 300s, he'll like scoff at them and be like, "I have to sit with the peasants tonight."
Smells like pour up here.
But those are like the only types of people I know who go to Leaf games regulars. They know someone who had tickets for 50 years or are just wealthy.
Yes.
Like
or
regular
their
people
business
don't
bought
go.
some. Like
Exactly.
My brother-in-law's law firm has some season tickets that they give to their clients.
Like those are the type of people
Yeah.
who go to Leafs games, which ruins the atmosphere sometimes, but it's also the nature of we're a big city and things are expensive.
yeah, and they're rich as hell, so there's good things with that.
Yeah, you don't want them to have money to
Yeah.
buy everything. So
All right, should we move on to the next question?
pass it down.
All right. All right, I'm going to dig deep. And I don't know if I'm going to do as poetic a reading as Steve did.
Why not?
But I'm going to try my best, and I will not give out the time. This is from J-Man.
Give it out. It matters.
J-Man is a Boston and Washington fan. Going off of Hockey Ace Grace's question, what are some of your guys' least favorite things about Christmas? Get your Grinch on.
They're probably replying to like another question in
Yeah.
Discord. Steve had looked at me funny, being like, "What the fuck is this?"
I didn't say anything.
Okay,
You looked at me.
here's I'll start with this one. Everybody's got the family members that if you have a big Christmas, everybody's got that wing of the family that avoids the cleanup. And if I'm talking to you, believe me, you're not hiding. Everybody knows, and they talk about you behind your back. That is everybody. All those guys, they all think that we won't know. Like their whole thing is, they were just gonna go in the other room and have a drink randomly or whatever. And it's like, no, we know the people that show up every year, and we know the people that don't. And if you don't, believe me, everybody's aware. But the nature of the holidays is you don't want to start a fight around Christmas, so nobody tells you anything. And but they all know, and they're saying stuff about
I'm just gonna say that Adam, being the most passionate about this question, was like minus 10,000 on the bet.
Yes,
odds.
absolutely.
Like, you put down $10,000.
But I love Christmas.
You'll get a penny back.
I love Christmas. I love it.
But I feel like you have very passionate complaints about the holiday.
I think that you could. Well, no, Halloween I don't like.
Right. No, I
Flat
mean,
out
like,
don't like
there are things about Christmas that would irk you.
Yes,
With
for
the
sure.
family stuff,
I think
and the drama.
listen, man. If somebody so our family has, or Natalie's family that I've married into has, there's so many that there are 2 turkeys that are 30-pounders.
Oh my goodness.
Holy.
So like
shit.
it's like an hour to get everybody served, and then it's an hour to get everything cleaned up. And so when you don't participate in that, people are aware. And that happened all the way through growing up. There are just that wing of the fam that you're like, you know what? We don't feel like doing this ever. Thanks. Appreciate you.
I frigging love Christmas. I love it so damn much. I love everything about it. Except, Jesse, what's the minus 10,000 odds for me?
Driving.
Yep.
Nice call,
That
Jesse.
is minus 10,000 on the
Nice
board.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting there. It's
That
just getting there.
BetMGSM.
It's a bet. Oh, terrible.
What is it? What did you?
Bet MGSM. Terrible. A few Christmases ago, I did something that I was just so furious, like it almost ruined Christmas. I only recently have gotten a car where you don't have to put the key in the car.
You got to push the
A
stuff.
push button start.
Which is most, like every modern car.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
I've had that
Yeah.
for a decade, by the way.
Yeah, well,
And
good for you.
They weren't even that
You go to
nice.
Leaf games
They
every
weren't even that
friggin'
nice.
day, and then you got the push to start.
Listen, man, just because Mazda was late in implementing the push button start.
They were not.
I was driving a Nissan and they had that.
Adam, your wallet's overflowing.
No, yeah.
So I drove all the way to Christmas, which is in Uxbridge,
Really?
and didn't turn the car off yet, thankfully, because my keys were at home. And guess what I had to do?
Drive all the way
I
back.
have 2 options: leave the car on all night, or go home, get the keys, come back.
way.
Now, you know,
I
it does warn you, eh? It beeps at you when you don't have the key in the car.
How did you get that far?
I think we were just distracted by, we only had Leo at the time, but I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't know how I made that mistake. I was very, very mad about it. And like just Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are my 1 and 2. And I can't decide in the order. And it was Christmas Eve. And I just torpedoed like an hour and a half of Christmas Eve. I was so sad.
So you like started the car remotely, or you had the key and you went back in the house and then you left it there?
No. So I went home. I dropped.
No. What he's saying is, how did you leave the key?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, because you're right. How did I start
That's
the
what
car?
I'm asking. So you must have like remote started or went into the car, started it, lit the heat up. or
That car
something.
didn't
I don't
have a
know.
remote starter.
Oh,
so-
that wasn't the remote starter.
No. So like,
I'm trying to figure out how.
No, so
I somehow turned the car on.
So Jesse, first off, Mazda. So has a push button start, doesn't have a remote start to warm it up.
Okay.
is
But you
what
need
he's
to
saying.
start. You need to have the key in the car to start it the first
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So I don't know how I
At
did
some
it.
point, you went into the car with the key to start the car.
Right.
Most likely, I went out to warm the car up.
Right,
For
that's what
our
I'm
tiny
thinking.
baby child, and then came back inside.
And you
went
took the key out.
blue car because I have friggin' definitely diagnosed actually ADHD. I just didn't like the medication.
Yeah.
So I was sad about it.
My question is, when you got back to the house, was the front door unlocked?
No.
So SL brought her keys, Mrs. Dangle brought her keys and locked the house.
No, I was able to get into the house another way. I didn't have to break into the house.
So but the door was locked.
Yes.
So you both brought your keys.
Adam, you're trying to solve. This is a cold case
'cause, like-
this happened years ago. I don't remember.
This is so funny because like you would have had to have locked the house.
The sheer amount of
Imagine
steps.
you got back from
Yeah.
lunch break, you get to your house and it's locked.
See why I started interrogating?
Yeah.
Because there's so many steps for you to get to this error.
And Steve, you're looking at us like that's a stupid question.
Yeah.
I was like, like, this is really important. to the story.
No, it's a good question that I'm mad that I have to answer. I'm still mad about.
Like what?
Jesse, I'm so glad you kicked off
Oh
that
my
question.
God! Yeah, no,
Great.
you had to commit so many different steps up the ladder,
Yeah.
to reach that point where you're in Uxbridge without the car key, but you drove with that car to Uxbridge.
In the snow, no snow tires. I was pissed. I was so fucking pissed.
Do you want me to take the next one?
Yeah, buddy.
Okay.
Get after it, Jesse.
All right, I'm gonna dig a little deep in the bowl. Maddie, thank you, by the way, for helping me fold all of these pieces of paper.
Thank you, Maddie.
Pre-show.
Mad Dog.
Steve, you're going to be up next. All right, let's see what's on this helpful little sheet. Leafy Time writes, why can't the NHL make a simple change to how they calculate power play efficiency? All they have to do is calculate number of goals per 2 minutes of power play time. It would be such an easy stat to calculate. All the information is readily available. Thoughts? So Leafy Time saying that number of goals per 2 minutes of power play time would be more efficient than power play percentage, because when you're calculating power play percentage, sometimes teams get like 30 seconds of power play time, or it'll be like the end of the game, there's a cheap penalty and there's like 10 seconds of power play time, or they'll take another shorthanded, or they'll take a penalty during the power play. So this would be a better way to calculate it. What do you guys think?
My guess is NHL teams do track this. It's just not public. There are some stats that are just like legacy stats.
Plus minus.
Plus minus is a legacy stat. Goals against average is completely useless.
Oh my God. It means nothing.
It means nothing.
So no, that was driving me nuts about the Leafs at the beginning of the season, because their power play was bad. It was bad. But it's like, oh man, like over the last 10 games, they're 0 for 10. And I'm like, they have not had 10 power plays over the last.
Yeah,
and it's like,
Scott would
this
be
one
like,
was
hey, they've
20.
had 20 minutes on the power play and they've scored this. I think
that means a lot more.
Yeah, I
know?
think it comes down to like, here's something really stupid, right? Like there was a miles per gallon stat, and it still exists in the States for how to measure your fuel efficiency.
Okay.
In Canada, is it kilometers per liter? No, it's how many liters per 100 kilometers did you know what I mean? It's liters spent per 100 kilometers is how we measure fuel efficiency in Canada. Whereas states, it's like, how many miles did you get on that gallon? And
Right.
and it's stupid. And the reason that you're looking at me like that is nobody fucking gets it. And I think the reason now, what I like that this, what was their name?
Leafy time.
Leafy Time makes a really good point. For those of us nerds, that would be an amazing stat to have publicly available. But to use it on the broadcast, it's going to be a liters per 100 kilometer situation. You're going to be like, is that good? Like, where does that rank? And what they should do to calculate power plays, it should be minutes versus goals scored and your rates per. But how are you going to explain that to somebody who's new to
So, question, media question. Should we be dumbing down our broadcasts for the audience? I don't think so. I think if power play, 2 minutes per power play goal or however it's supposed to be phrased, is the best way to explain it, you just start doing it and you let the audience catch up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and if you do that, Jesse, I think you might have a good point there. If it's per 2 minutes or something like that, then you can look at it in a situation and go, okay, so their 2 minutes is a 0.45. Well, that means they got a 45% chance of scoring based on their recent history.
That would be.
There's an easy way to do it.
Holy crap! That means something.
I like that. I like that, man. I think that's a great
TSN
idea.
hasn't been afraid of that at all. Like they'll just be like, oh yeah, expected goals and Corsi.
Oh, Mike Johnston,
Yeah.
unbelievable with that stuff.
And they don't. That was an interesting little bit of feedback I got writing my book because I defaulted to explaining everything from scratch, but one of the compliments I've gotten is
Start from Adam and Eve.
Anyone, yeah. In the beginning, there was this really delicious apple. They shouldn't have bit it. The feedback I've gotten is anyone can read it. But I was also told during the writing process, like, listen, the book's called Hockey Rants and Raves. Hockey fans are buying this book.
Yeah.
So you need to write as if someone who knows what's going on is reading it.
Yeah.
The casual person who has no interest in hockey doesn't need to be able to understand your book.
There's plenty of hockey fans who can't explain icing, right? And I think that's the thing is, you're right. So Jesse, you've convinced me. I'm now flipped. If you're trying to get into hockey and power play percentages are throwing you off and that's what turns you off the game, then you're probably not going to be a hockey fan, right? I think you get into hockey because the goals are amazing, the hits are amazing, the fights are cool, and there's a lot of swearing, and it's in a very intense game, like you think of a playoff game, right? If that's for most fans, that's enough.
Yeah.
They don't need to know every rule. They can't name every penalty. They don't know what when the ref makes the weird noise or the weird hand sign, they don't know what that means, which is why the refs have got on the microphone and go charging, tripping, hooking, all that. They say it to the audience because the audience doesn't know.
Yeah.
You get a power play. You take a penalty. You're on the penalty kill. Other team takes a penalty 5 seconds into that penalty kill. After a minute 55 on 4-on-4, you get 5 seconds of power play. You're 0 for 1.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
That is stupid.
That makes no sense.
Yep.
Let's stop.
I like that. All right.
One thing, there's a debate going on right now in NBA and NFL media, like against each other about the coverage of each sport, because the NFL has been trending towards this area where there's so many great content creators out there right now, like a lot of them on The Ringer and across the football podcast landscape, where they explain the strategies and the plays. And the NFL's really dive deep into this area of like, we're breaking down the game here. Here's what the actual players were doing. They have an all 22 view. You know, like Matt, when you're watching Madden, how the Madden view is that view, but you can see that now with the NFL broadcast, and a lot of people are like breaking down the film on TikTok and everything. And that's the content that really thrives in the NFL media landscape. And NBA fans have been looking at the NFL world online and NFL Twitter and been like, why can't we have that? Because NBA fans, they complain about the media because all they're getting is Stephen A. Smith yelling about, oh, Paul George sucks, he can't do anything, or whoever's on.
Why does he suck?
Whoever's on ESPN that day just yelling about whatever narrative's going on. And even during the broadcast of games, they're not talking about the actual play. And NBA fans want them to be more like the NFL world where you get guys breaking down film. So I feel like it's trending to more in that direction of like serve the hardcore fans who want that and not just the yelling about whatever is going off the
But
field.
serve them where, right? Because what's important, Jesse, is you mentioned TikTok. TikTok, you got to go a mile deep, right? So in the quickest way you can put it is on a TV broadcast, it's an inch deep, a mile wide. In digital, which is what we're doing, it's a mile deep, inch wide. You have to have a clear, concise focus, and you're going real deep on it. That's what does well on the internet because it caters to the niche. And so I think the NFL has done a great job of bridging that, Jesse, like you said, right? Where the NBA should have that, the NHL should have that, but you have to understand that the scale is, I mean, the NHL probably doesn't even have the scale for that to even be worth it, to be honest. But at the NFL and the NBA level, it does sort of make sense. They've got the viewership numbers and the amount of fans where you can still make some money on that. The NHL doesn't.
Do you remember when Tony Romo was like the biggest thing in broadcasting for like a month because he was telling you what was going to happen with the plays before they happened. And people were like, oh, I'm starting to get football.
They told him to stop.
Well, yeah, and he had to dial that back a little. He also stopped being really good at it because he got further away from playing the actual games. So that's why it's a little less now. But like that sort of stuff, it perked up people's ears because they're like, oh yeah, they're doing this play. And like, I get football and this is everything into it. And then, I think they're genius by leaning into that even more in the broadcast. But you're so right in that there's not the time to do that on most NBA broadcasts because
have a second screen.
They don't allow that time to talk on ESPN.
Yeah,
like if you watch a halftime show, it's literally 2 minutes and there's 6 people on a panel. They all get 15 seconds because you got to go through the 2 minutes and then you do 10 minutes of commercials.
Yep.
How are you supposed to do anything in that when the producers of the show and the executives aren't giving time for the hardcore stuff?
Yes.
You can't ask for it if there's no time for it.
And if the league wanted that, there's a really easy solution, which is make the rights cheaper.
Yeah.
And the league doesn't want you to have the league. Listen, the halftime shows used to be fucking awesome. The reason that they're not anymore is because these broadcasters have to pay exorbitant fees in order to carry them. And so that's why Hockey Night in Canada, in the intermission, it's 17 or 18 minutes. Only 4 of it is talk.
Yeah.
You can time it. You can check it out. Now, we have to do the BetMGM big story, and I got one for you. It's a dooz. Okay, so guys, here's my question for you. Do you ever just do a little bit of like a $2 Steve on like a total wild card, no chance that this happens, but just in case it does?
I'm a coward, so rarely.
Okay.
Blackhawks making the playoffs.
Well, okay. So there are 5 teams, 5 teams right now with over 300 to 1 odds of making the playoffs.
Oh, there you go.
5 teams in the NHL. And I'm sure you can name them, but before you do, I want to remind you that the St. Louis Blues went from last to winning the Cup from January to June.
They don't talk about that enough.
So there is,
I've never heard that stat.
what they don't talk about enough is how they let Pietrangelo go for next to nothing, and they shouldn't have. But I do want to, I want to say it has been done. It probably won't be done this year, but it has been. Your teams are the Blackhawks, the Blue Jackets, the Canadians, the Ducks, and the Sharks. Those are your bottom 5 with the longest odds to make the playoffs. Each of them at over 300.
This isn't even winning the Cup. This is just make the playoffs. Be the 8th seed.
Sorry, wrong. Oh. It is Stanley Cup.
Oh, Adam.
What? What does it matter?
What does it matter?
St. Louis,
you set
man.
up something for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, but St. Louis, man. That's why I brought it up originally.
Out of the 5, I'm going Seabus. I'm going Columbus.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
They haven't been bad this season at all. Think of the teams we have talked about this year and how miserable they are and how bad things are going. Even the teams that were supposed to be bad are worse than we thought. The Sharks have escaped a lot of that. And so has Columbus. And they've been camping in the high 20s, late teens in the league, which is not playoffs, but they're sniffing around there. You get the Leafs in the first round, you never know.
I have an answer for you. The Montreal Canadiens.
Really?
Because the Metropolitan, as we used to call it, has slowly become the Mid-Atlantic. The Mid-Atlantic this year is so mediocre from outside of that top four. And even the bottom of the top four, Boston and Tampa, haven't been world beaters this season. If any of a team could sneak into any playoff spot, it's somebody in the Atlantic.
And they only just got Laine back.
And they just got Laine back, and he's been playing nice since he's come back. And the Montreal Canadiens, if they went on some sort of run, there's a path to a second wildcard spot. Once you get into the playoffs, we know with the Montreal Canadiens, they can ride hot for 4 weeks.
And you play the Leafs in round one.
And you play the Leafs in round one, you could easily win that series because everybody can beat the Leafs in the playoffs. Montreal Canadiens are my pick for Stanley Cup, 300-1.
See, I'm going San Jose Sharks.
Are you a truther, Adam?
I'm a truther this year because now listen, they're not great, but I want to point you to Fabian Zetterlund.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Great fantasy pickup.
Fabian Zetterlund is such a Sharks truther now.
100%.
What a truther.
I don't love that they just traded away their starting goaltender,
No.
and they are
Not
still
great.
intentionally trying to be bad. But
Yep.
Celebrini, since he's come back from injury, is good. Will Smith was placed on injured reserve last week, but hopefully he'll be back and it'll be okay. And I think that there's you look at Toffoli, you look at Goudreau, you look at Cody Ceci. Some of these guys have been super deep in the playoffs. So if they were to sneak in,
Oh, Adam, you got
got
the
some playoff
truth
performers.
coursing through your veins right now.
Maybe Mark-Edward Vlasic has a renaissance.
Oh, whoa.
He's been in the finals.
I'm interested to see Yaroslav Askarov maybe get a few more starts here.
There you go. So listen, those are our choices. Check yours out at betmgm.com/dangle for terms and conditions.
This is Colin. 2024, December 5th, 3:33 p.m.
Oh my God.
How unhinged would an in-season buyout window be?
Oh.
The temptation for GMs to make a panic move to try and save their season or jobs would be irresistible. Colin, this from an entertainment value standpoint is an absolutely fantastic idea. Gary Bettman, I think, would rather die than implement this. He has done his darndest, rightly or wrongly, to save NHL teams from themselves and make this league profitable. And you are basically gonna... This isn't a get out of jail free card. This is a put yourself into jail for free card. This is a spend money like a lunatic for free card. This is, instead of trading first round picks, which are at very least not money, you're going to blow millions of dollars to lose in 6 games in the second round instead of 5. And I don't think this will ever happen, but I love your chutzpah.
I think it also probably favors richer teams, which is why they'll never do it.
Yeah.
There's still
It becomes a cheat code if you have the money to just buy out guys all the time.
Yeah. So I think that's probably why, but it's a great idea. And the PWHL has it.
Do they really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've got a buyout window where they can just cut people.
I didn't know that.
And it was pretty aggressive.
For the
last
sake
year.
of people's families too, I'm not a supporter of the NFL model where you could cut guys like non-guaranteed contracts. I think probably just keep it how it is in terms of buyout window.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, when you're cut, there's just okay, take care. There's no payout.
No, it's non-guaranteed. Like they can literally just cut you and you're done. Bye.
What is the point of a contract?
Non-guaranteed. It says if you're here for this amount of time, this is how much you are going to make during that amount of time, but you are not guaranteed to be here for that amount of time.
Yeah, that's because the NFL broke the players' union.
Yeah.
in the
It's fucked
in the
up.
80s, and the NHL probably could have had that when they broke the players' union 20 years ago, but they just didn't get it.
Just a dumb off.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, pass
Adam.
it over. All right, are you ready? I'm picking from the top. You guys both went from the bottom. I'm going easy here. All right. Oh, this looks like a big one. This looks like it might be a paragraph.
What time was it written?
Oh, this is a thesis from Hogwash. Hey, y'all. Long time, first time. Love the show. With bad hits and suspensions in the news again, as they are every year, I was wondering what you thought about a possible rule change. Briefly, if a player is suspended, the offending team has to play with a shortened bench for the duration of the suspension. To use a recent example, as much as it pains me to think of it, the Leafs would have had to play with 17 skaters for the 5 games that Reeves was suspended. My theory is that teams would work quickly internally to train their players to not make reckless plays, as being down a skater for a number of games is a real competitive disadvantage. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Keep up the fabulous work.
No one is going for that.
Nobody wants this.
No one wants that.
I think it's a cool idea. I do. I respect your creativity.
It's funny.
Man.
Yeah, but you're thinking about it from a sporting perspective, which the NHL never thinks about anything from that
Right.
perspective.
It's business.
So you're like, hey, what's fair? Okay, let's throw that in the trash because that's not how they think about anything. Teams are like, I own a multi-billion-dollar team, and I have to play at a disadvantage because of the acts of one of my employees.
Or because of your arbitrary NHL player safety. Imagine how much scrutiny player safety would be under at that point.
100%.
Exactly.
So you're not doing that. The players union would lose their mind because every time a guy gets suspended, guess what you got to do? Replace him.
Yeah.
A guy gets called up and he's got to pay dues and hooray. And it's great. Yeah, literally none of the relevant parties are going for this.
You lose that extra job that somebody gets in there. And like imagine, because the NHL, they rescind suspensions all the time. Like from the amount of time a guy's suspended and he serves that time to when Gary can find the time to sit down in a boardroom and renegotiate whatever the suspension should be. Like there could be an instance where you play shorthanded for 10 games and then they're like, you know what, we're going to reduce that suspension to from 10 to 6. And then you played those extra 4 games shorthanded for a
Dennis
suspension.
Weidman.
Like that doesn't
with
commute
him.
here.
He got his money back, but like he'll never get those games back.
Right. So now imagine on top of that, the team doesn't get those games back for the times they played shorthanded.
No.
And they like lost
And
all
you
of them.
probably increase your chances of injury too. No one's going for this.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
I like the creativity. Respect.
Yes. Next one from the bowl. Oh, that's the bottom half of a question. We forgot to tape that one together, Maddie.
Way to go, guys.
Boo! More like a boo.
Oh, maybe I did.
Oh,
Did I
Jesse
get those?
screwed it up.
No, those aren't right. No, next one. I think we missed the bottom half of it. Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. No, this is a full question. Jay Merles. Does Keith Pelly have the passion? His Grey Cup parade speech was electric.
Yes.
Did you guys see it?
No.
I haven't seen it either.
No.
I do not know what you're talking about.
No.
There was I would say at our event in Kingston the other week, there was a guy who was at our Oshawa event, and he's a Pete's fan. He was the guy that got booed mercilessly at the Jenny's event.
Yes.
He was at, and he asked me at the Jenny's event, he's like, hey man, are you going to watch the Grey Cup? And I'm like, I don't know, I'll try, but like, you know.
No one campaigns harder for their sport than
CFL fans. And then he said to me, first thing he asked me at the France event was, did you watch it? And I was like, listen, I only have time for so many sports.
Yeah.
And the CFL is absolutely not going to be on that list, but I appreciate and love the passion that CFL fans have.
That's mean.
What? I don't expect everybody to love Formula One.
I don't care about
I like Steve doesn't like it. Steve's like, I'm not making time for that. It's not for me.
It's not even that I don't like it. Like, it's like being passionately against a food I've never eaten.
Right. It just hasn't factored in.
I don't know.
But
never tried it.
So I respect that. But yeah,
it's so good. I'm sure it is.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. All three of us worked for Rogers when Keith Pelly was running it. Rogers Sports and Media now. And Keith is a very good speaker who does desperately care about winning. Whether or not he's able to turn that into wins is one thing, but I'm sure that speech would be amazing. I can only imagine what would happen if the Leafs, Raptors, or even TFC won again.
I couldn't find it. I did a quick Twitter search, but I didn't see it.
I have a difficult time.
So that's the problem with the CFL right there, is like you can't even find it on Twitter. Like, what are we doing here? It doesn't even have a chance to go viral. People are like, hey man, you had to be there. There were no cameras, but it was great. Like, did somebody like type it?
Where was their parade?
I think they probably did something at City Hall like TFC did.
Right.
And then,
Right.
you know. And then they were there for the official flag raising at City Hall, and everybody's like, "Whoa!" I don't know.
All right.
Sorry, Argos. That's not my thing.
I don't have a good gauge on Keith Pelly's passion because he just got here.
No, stop. Pull out a question.
I don't have it. From Dr. Truth. This has to be about the Sharks. Well, it says Dr. Truth MTL 2024 November 24th 444. How did that happen twice in a row? During overtime in the Minnesota Vikings / Chicago Bears game, the person holding the chain marker was injured.
That happens occasionally.
Okay. As they tried to find someone else to hold it, the broadcaster said, "Wasn't there a Zamboni driver who came in to play goalie one time?"
Oh, man, that's funny.
My question is there anything that doesn't end up being about the Leafs? No.
That's good.
That's a good question.
Imagine you're just watching this random NFL game. They're like, you know what? I'm going to needle Steve a little.
Yeah, just
They probably saw your clip. They probably at one point saw it.
I'm gonna escape this. This will be my escape, and I'm gonna have a good time and a happy day. And then an off-field guy gets hurt, and it's about one of the most. Do you understand? It's one of the most humiliating losses in the history of sport. Mm-hmm. Sport. Mm-hmm. They lost to an amateur. A team of professional athletes played about half a game against an amateur and lost.
You need to think
by the way, get a paycheck from the same
You need to
organization.
think about it the other way. It's one of the most heroic.
Ah.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a Disney movie. It's not a horror
No,
film.
the Leafs lost to Airbud.
Yeah. No, Air Bud's a positive movie.
Positive.
Okay. Air Bud's not about the visiting team who comes in and loses to the dog.
It should be.
That's not. Imagine Air Bud was just about this random.
From the other
city.
perspective,
Yeah.
how did this golden retriever beat our basketball team?
I need the perspective of Team Iceland. Like, what the fuck?
I would watch that
They just
movie.
cobbled together this team of guys who could barely skate. I've been working my whole life and we lost to them.
The David Ayres story is about Air Bud, not the fucking across town rivals who lost to the volleyball playing dog.
They need to do Air Bud the other side. Air bust.
Bust.
All right.
No
all right.
hope.
Next
No
question
hope.
from
I think we landed on something.
Range Z48. Pandemics and lockouts aside, Ovi has only missed 35 games due to injury. Matthews has already missed 57. Should we shut down Matthews will catch Ovi eventually conversation now or wait a couple years?
No, because shutting it down is boring. Yeah. It doesn't need to be constant. He's less than half of the way there.
Yeah, like no. Okay, I remember Steve bringing up the Ovi might catch Gretzky thing, and I remember thinking like that sounds preposterous.
Dude, I brought it up in like 2016.
I know. I remember this. We were still at the Rogers studio when
Yeah.
we were doing it, the three of us. So I thought that was preposterous at that time, and then you went through and explained it. And you're like, oh, it's I guess it could happen. Yeah, man. I also think it's like just too early to talk about that. How about we just focus on Austin Matthews getting to goal 420, nice,
Hey.
and be taking over the Leafs all-time scoring, which I believe would be what 421.
420 would still be less than half the way there.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ovi's gonna finish with like 900 goals. Like we're a long ways off.
Yeah.
That's when he retires.
But the thing that's interesting about Matthews and the reason why it's a conversation is because he's on a better pace than Ovi.
Yes.
At the same point in their career, Austin Matthews has more goals.
Yep.
Which is,
I
that's
mean,
kind of cute.
The
you know?
early part of Ovi's career, like that's insane. I don't think people are properly appreciating how nuts it is that Matthews is in that conversation. And the leg up Matthews has on Ovi is Matthews got to play his rookie year.
Yep.
Yes.
Ovechkin did not.
And hopefully Matthews doesn't go through multiple lockouts.
He literally multiple lockouts. Like, okay, Ovechkin's missed 35 games due to injury. Great.
Which is a little
He's-
more now because he's been injured.
Right. But he's missed like 120 due to lockout, something like that. So Matthews still actually has an advantage.
Technically
over
missed
Ovi.
what should have been his rookie season.
Yeah, he actually has an advantage over Ovi, and he could be injured for more time and still not make up that game's missed debt.
There you go.
I just hope he's not injured.
This comes from Kraken Sushi 4644.
Good name.
Where do players go when they get ejected from a game? Do they just stay in the locker room? Is there a place in the arena they go to watch the rest of the game, or do they go back home to the hotel? No, they go to the locker room and they take off their equipment and they hang out back there until the game's over.
Watch the game on TV.
Stay in the pit of shame.
Ryan Reeves, when he was suspended, he went back to the locker room, took all of his clothes off, and put on his civvies. And then he did the thing he does when he's scratched, and he stands at the tunnel where the players are coming out, and he gives everybody a fist bump as they're going back onto the ice. So he was kicked out first period, I believe. So it would have been the second period.
Yeah, early in the second.
Early in the second. So at the start of the third, we're all watching him on the Jumbotron give everybody the fist bumps. Because, yeah, you hang around till like the game's done, and you got a bunch of post game stuff too. You can't just leave. You can't just go home. You're there just like it's post game, except you're just waiting for the rest of the team to join you in your post game.
I feel like Jeremy Roenick did leave once.
Yeah, but that's Jeremy Roenick,
and he got suspended for it. Okay, I'm gonna Google that. You keep going here.
Didn't Antonio Brown do that?
When he took off all his clothes and quit the NFL?
Just quit the NFL?
Yeah.
In the middle of an NFL game.
And now we run CTESPN.
Oh, my God.
For brain damage.
Wow.
Yeah. It's dark times for Antonio Brown.
Find it?
So, hang on. I'm just... Okay. So, this is from December 14th, 2006. And it's from the ESPN Newswire, so there's no particular writer associated. It said, Jeremy Roenick wants to retire at the end of the year, but he may not have to wait that long. If you remember, that 2006 offseason had been very interesting because the Flames really wanted JR, but Wayne Gretzky called him and said, I want you to come to Arizona, where Wayne Gretzky was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Wayne was also the part owner at that point. Mm-hmm. And so JR said, okay, I'm going to go where Gretzky tells me. Basically, he said, what? Do you give support from the press box? Give support with pom-poms from the press box? There's nothing that a player not playing can do. If anything, they want players that are not playing away from the team because it's a distraction. This is a Jeremy Roenick quote. That's the next thing.
That's Cope.
Yeah. Gretzky said, I treat all players like men and they should act like them. JR, all in all, has been pretty positive, but the reality is last night he made a mistake. Wayne Gretzky replaced Roenick with Mike Ricci in Phoenix's lineup Thursday in a 5-4 win over the Blue Jackets. That he didn't know when Roenick would return to the lineup. The move comes 2 days after Roenick stormed out of General Motors Place in Vancouver after learning he wouldn't play with the against the Vancouver Canucks because of back spasms.
So it wasn't that he was kicked out and he left. It was that he got scratched
and then he went
home.
I believe he went to a steakhouse, if I'm not mistaken.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't do that at all.
Gretzky said that because no Coyotes personnel knew of Roenick's whereabouts during the game, Roenick had broken out a written rule that says players who aren't playing stay for the game. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Don't do that.
That's pretty bad. Yeah. So Gretzky called you to be on the team and then wants you to be a good leader, and then you're
How didn't I know?
bumming off
I
like
guess
that.
Also, Wayne Gretzky, not a great head coach.
Not a great head coach.
No.
No, that's okay, though.
Yeah, great players don't make great head coaches.
I hope it's 5:55.
What?
The time.
Oh.
Damn it! Plumped up kicks.
That's funny.
2024, November 26, 10:23 p.m. Would you trade Matthew Nyes, Dennis Hildeby, and a first-round pick for Sidney Crosby regardless of cap hit? Maybe even Easton Cowan to sweeten the deal. This was actually a conversation we had in a group chat where I was just talking about how much I love Matthew Nyes, and Crosby like getting traded in Toronto and whatever got brought up, and the conversation was basically, who gives a shit? It's Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
I would be so sad to lose Matthew Nyes. I really would.
I'd want him playing with Crosby.
Yeah.
That's a bad trade
For who?
for the Leafs.
Easton Cowan included or not?
No, giving up Matthew Nyes for Sidney Crosby is a bad trade.
Whoa.
Not with like everything in between. Like, yeah, that's not good.
They don't have the strength on wing to
To do that.
Yeah.
make up for it.
Yeah, so you make your team kind of suck in another area.
No, yeah,
like you
but-
get really good down the middle, and then you kind of suck on the wing.
Your 1, 2, 3 is Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Sidney Crosby in whatever order you want. And you have Marner, who can play right wing. You have Nylander, who can play right wing. I'm sure they like. Does their social media coordinator have skates? Like does the training staff?
The
have
Sidney
skates?
Crosby trade is some combination of like Minton, Cowan, a first. You know, you're giving up the top young guys, and
I would rather have Nyes.
You're sending them all to the moon.
I think Nyes ends up being better than all of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, so you're saying no? If I'm the Penguins, I tell you to shove it up your friggin' nose.
Cowan, Minton, a first. Who else you want? Hildeby too?
It's not enough. It's Sidney Crosby.
I think you're really close there.
I think we're also saying that we're puffing up Dennis Hildeby's value at the NHL level, which is like nil.
He might not even be their best goalie prospect.
Yeah, like not that I don't love Dennis Hildeby and don't hope that he plays for the Leafs, but like the reality is that the trade market is what it is, and Dennis Hildeby is not on a lot of teams' radars. He hasn't established himself yet. So
Mackenzie Blackwood is like one of the best goalies available, and look what he just fetched.
Yeah, exactly.
Cowan, Minton, 2 firsts, Morgan Riley.
Why?
I don't know. Just throw them out there.
I mean, if
because we have so much D.
Pittsburgh, yeah, I'd probably take that. Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Oh yeah,
You keep nice. Yeah. I'm saying there's a lot of other.
Now you don't have Morgan Riley.
You have so much defense. I can give up. I can spare Morgan Riley.
Oh.
There's so many trades you can combine with Leafs guys if you're willing to just send them out without giving up Matthew Nyes.
Yeah, I think Cowan, Minton, and you can have our entire 25 draft class.
Sure. Yeah, and if I'm Dubas, I'd probably take that. If if it's like we have to trade Crosby kind of thing, the Leafs can do a Godfather offer that doesn't involve Nyes. That's really good, and they get Sidney Crosby.
You need Nyes.
We will not make a pick this year.
That's fine.
Yeah, who cares?
I get Sidney Crosby.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Take it all.
Yeah. No, the Leafs, if Sidney Crosby's ever on the table, the Leafs have a serious shot at him. Like,
Yes.
I'm genuine about that.
Yes, it's been described as less than 0 if it ever came up. So, man, nothing would make Pens fans of this show more pissed off than Crosby being a Leaf. Like, they'd be just furious about it.
Or they'd be happy.
You think they'd be happy? I don't think they'd be happy.
All right, let me turn
for
it
us.
around. Would you do Crosby for Michkov? And then he ends up on the Flyers.
Oh,
No.
but you get
No.
You get the image of Sidney
I don't know if the
Crosby in a
Flyers would do that. They're not in the right.
Yeah, what do they need Sidney Crosby for?
No, like they go on a run. They're crazy. They're great.
Steve, they'd be on a run because of Mitch.
None of this is.
Would you do Kaprizov for Sidney Crosby?
Oh, yeah.
Probably not. And that's the thing. Like this is where I need everybody to be careful because when you talk about a player's value, like there is a point where there is a number. And what's the value to people? Like, oh, who cares? It's Crosby. Yeah, but it's 38-year-old Crosby.
Yep.
And there is a cap on that value.
Yep. That's why I put my foot down on Matthew Nyes, because if they're in a position where they're winning, the things you have to give up is not Matthew Nyes and all of the things that are supposed to be futures,
And here's the thing. Oh, Sidney Crosby, now Toronto Maple Leaf, you gave up so much, high ankle sprain, misses the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
Like what if like that can happen, guys? Like you got to make
100%.
sure that you still have a lineup left when he joins it.
100%.
That's Pittsburgh's current problem. They don't have much of a lineup around him.
Oh yeah, Leafs got all their picks back from the Foligno deal. God, that'd be nice if you could do conditional picks based on games.
100%. It should. Well, you can.
Oh yeah,
You literally can.
Oh yeah.
All right, from Bonzi. From Bonzi, I'm a big fan of Prime Monday Night Hockey, and I'm super excited for what could come in the future for the NHL with Amazon. The only issue is I play hockey Monday nights, and after the game, we go out for a beer. Just one, and wings. Do you know what it would take to get bars to get games on their TVs when the broadcast is hosted by Prime? I assume the costs are prohibitive for only a few games they host right now. Would love some input. I don't. So bars have to pay a licensing fee to do it,
and it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's not cheap.
not cheap. I don't know what Amazon is charging for that, but maybe like it's entirely possible because these rights were announced so late in the year that Amazon hadn't even set up something for that yet.
I think you would just have to pay for it. No, I was in. I think it was in Vegas because the NFL had games on Prime first, right? Or was it Apple?
No. Amazon.
It was-
Yeah,
yeah.
Thursday nights are on Amazon on it for the NFL. Yeah.
I want to say it was in a casino in Vegas that had the NFL games on.
Yeah, that's,
like you
yeah.
can.
that's completely different.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, different deal.
like the NFL, like they had long runway, sorry, to get
Yeah.
that done, and it's also the NFL. There's no option in America to have a bar when on Thursdays there's one NFL game on to say we're not playing this.
Yep.
There's not.
There will be riots in the street.
That's not an option to own a bar and not show football on Thursday when that's the game and it's on Amazon. In Canada, it's very interesting they brought this up because, I don't know, maybe Amazon didn't do the contracts with all the bars.
Or maybe it's just the bar you go to.
Or maybe
Because I think,
find a bar that has a fucking Amazon Fire Stick.
yeah, I think that,
Maybe your bar just doesn't have the streaming capabilities and they're so old school they just have the cable box.
Yeah, it could
where
be
it's
that.
not airing.
could be that, totally that. Yeah, it could just be the bar. Remember,
Yeah.
I would imagine that most sports bars in the country are carrying it if the game's on.
Yeah. So or just go to the one that has like a smart TV.
Here you go. Jesse, next question.
Next up, we have a question from Julian 1124. Hey guys, per your Barry Trotz shouldn't have made himself GM rant, which we did probably like a week and a half ago at this point. He's just the GM. He's not the president or anything. Why do you think that?
Well, look at how great it's
Say it
worked out
again.
for them.
So Barry Trotz is just the GM in Nashville. He's not the president or anything above that. Why do you think that's the case?
Because David Poyle's alive.
Adam, what's the management structure of Nashville?
I'm just looking it up right now. Predators.
David Poyle is among us,
You think
living and breathing.
it's as simple as that? As long as Poyle wants the job, it's his.
Yeah. That's probably the only reason he stepped aside is because he basically got kicked upstairs.
There you go, Maddie. You can bring it up.
Staff listing. Here we go.
It's on the screen, Adam.
Oh, okay.
If he has no president above him, that's odd.
So here are the owners.
Okay.
Look at all of them in their pictures. There's so many minority owners. Wow. Not minorities. They're all white people.
Whoa!
No, there's Warren Wu. Warren
there we
Wu
go.
made it.
All right.
All right.
Wait a second. Was that Shark's Den
What?
or Shark Tank or whatever? Here, go down. Yeah, that guy.
Brett, yeah.
Brett, isn't
Brett
he?
Wilson. Yeah, he's from Calgary.
There you go. Minority owner of
He's famous.
the Predators.
Yeah.
TV guy.
Yeah.
And horrible on Twitter.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Actually?
Yeah, he sucks.
He's
Guy
just the
sucks.
worst.
All right.
Guys-
Okay. Executives. Sean Henry is their CEO. The president is Michelle Kennedy. So there you go. President.
Oh, they got a
CEO,
Kennedy.
alternative governor.
Oh.
There you go. And
Where's David
then
Poyle?
Broadcast and
I
entertainment.
think he's retired, isn't he, guys?
God, Chris Mason's beard is unbelievable. I thought Poyle was still the president.
Administration.
I'm looking through it and I'm
Box
not
office?
seeing
Business strategy. Community relations.
premium sales. Like I'm looking through it myself and I'm like, where?
Yeah,
I
let me
thought
go
David
to.
Poyle was still the president.
Let me go to hockey ops. We're just on
Yes. Why are we?
That's the
I guess
problem.
they
There
have
isn't a
different-
hockey ops. There isn't one.
They must have different pages.
Operations, maybe?
Do they have more people working for them than any other
Oh
team?
my goodness, this is a giant.
Yo, wait, no.
The guy who had-
Go back. Who is this legend? Who is this
Did
legend?
we stumble on
Doug
something
Dick?
fun here?
Who is this? Andrew
yeah.
Muchtich, maintenance mechanic,
Man, that guy rules.
took his team photo in a Preds jersey with gloves and a stick. No
Yo.
one else has done this.
Andrew, if you listen to this show, please let us know. You are an absolute icon, and I
Rockstar.
want to know how you got them to do this.
He's correct. Well done. Absolutely. What a legend.
Oh,
Like,
everybody
like
else-
that guy's got some sass too. There was a big beard guy.
No, but everybody's just, you have your regular office photo, and they let him do it in his hockey gear.
I like the dude flexing too. Who's Wes Holden? Is
What's that?
The
his
next
name?
one over. Next one over.
No, next one over on the right.
Oh, next one. Oh, this guy. This guy.
Yeah. Yes.
The
What's he
mechanic.
holding?
A screwdriver.
Oh, that's awesome too. That's awesome too, but it's not a jersey, gloves, and stick. Absolutely.
Do you think the pants are on too? No, it looks like no.
What a superstar.
Andrew, you are a gem. Sabretooth Entertainment. Yeah, they don't have hockey ops on this page. Okay, let me look for hockey ops.
Sean Henry is the CEO. Michelle Kennedy is the president and alternate governor.
Oh, I got it here. There you go.
Okay.
Oh,
hockey
senior
ops.
advisor.
So at the top, they have all of it here. So we had staff listings. Here's hockey staff.
Yeah, but here's the deal with Barry's thing. Like, who's above Barry? Nobody.
Also, in terms of hockey staff, he is top dog.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I'm not going to lie. I could have swore David Poile was president.
No.
Just
Remember they
advise
made a
him.
big deal about David Poile stepping aside.
Wasn't that at the draft where they
Yeah.
spent 10 minutes thanking David Poile before every single pick?
Every team was like, David Poile, you sure are a guy. It's like, bro, okay, we get it, man. We get it.
How do you think Brian Poile got this job?
Stop! Jesse! Stop it!
What do you guys think?
Why do I know the name Jeff Keelty? I feel like he was in a trade tree.
What do you guys think? How does he get there?
Stop it, Jess. You're being bad. You're being bad.
Quality of character.
Yes. Resume.
Stop.
You're a piece of crap.
Guys.
How dare you?
You gotta listen. It's the Preds. You gotta have a Poile in there. They have to be a part of it. And there's a coach.
Yeah, they have one. His name's
that's
Dave.
Todd Richards.
Oh, yeah. Todd Richards, assistant coach.
There's Darby Hendrickson, former Leaf. There you go. All right.
Todd Richards has been on some teams.
He sure has.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, so to answer your question, I mean, Poile is there. So if Trotz wants to lean on him, he can. Having Trotz as the first-time GM, never been an executive, and no one above him is a mistake.
There you go.
So why? I don't. You'd have to ask them why they made that mistake. But
Yeah.
it's a mistake.
I would say the results are why. Yeah. Hey, we got time for one or two more, and then we're in a full hour here.
Couple more. There you go.
Oh my God, this one feels long. EDM Hamzia. This one was sent December 4th at 4:07 a.m. You friggin' sicko. I'm taking.
They might live in a different part of the world.
Nope. I'm taking my fiance to her first ever hockey game in February when the Toronto Scepters take on the Ottawa Charge here in Edmonton during the PWHL Takeover Tour.
Oh, I guess they live in Edmonton.
She asked if I was going to wear my Oilers jersey, and I said I wasn't sure. I've never been to a non-Oilers hockey game, and I was wondering what jersey etiquette is. Do I wear my Oilers jersey because I'm an Oilers fan, because I'm an Oilers fan and the game is happening in our home arena? I got her a Stuart Skinner shirt for her birthday, her favorite Oiler, and she was curious if she could/should wear that. She's still very new to hockey, only getting into it during the Oilers Cup run last year, and I don't want her to feel out of place at her first hockey game. Any guidance or insight would be great. For me, this is very unique. It's a Toronto-Ottawa game in Edmonton. There is no team. There's no PWHL team for your city. So I guess you're asking, is it poor form to wear a jersey from a different league to...
It's your home team's jersey. I don't have a problem with it.
My guess would be the majority of jerseys will be Oilers.
Yeah. If you can find yourself a PWHL like toque or something like that you can get, great. If that's not in the budget, then wear your jersey.
If you support the Charge of the Scepters, buy their merch. If you don't, wear an Oilers jersey.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get the merch. Like that's a fun thing.
Sure.
Go get your little hat or anything. But the NFL plays games in Europe every season. Like they play a whole bunch of weeks over in like Berlin and London and all that stuff. And the crowd is just filled with, even though there's two teams playing, the crowd is just filled with whatever NFL team you cheer for.
Yeah.
You know, you're a Cowboys fan, you live in London. This is the one time in your life you're going to see the NFL play in London. Might as well wear your Cowboys jersey.
The Raptors were like that for a long time. Like people didn't have a ton of Raptor shit. They're like, I'm just gonna wear Lakers or whoever's good.
Yeah.
Now, we're.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I like that.
that hard.
I don't think there's etiquette on that one.
Adam, you're up.
Totally fine.
All right. Let's see. This one looks like a big one.
I was gonna say like maybe get like an old school Inferno jersey, but that's Calgary. Are you gonna wear? Your choices are Calgary and Toronto. It's tough. And Ottawa. You might be a Charge fan by
Adam's
default.
pre-reading.
Adam P. Man.
Oh.
And it's a question for me.
Oh.
Adam likes to bring up that Toronto really doesn't have a local biased Leafs program televised anymore, like a local crew. I think the closest we get is the panel that TSN puts together when they have a local Leaf game, like a regional one. Closest thing, according to Adam P. Man, is Bowen and Ralph on Fan 590. They're also on TSN 1050. They're not employed by either of those guys. They're employed by the Leafs.
They're so funny.
Would Adam be interested in interviewing either gentleman in the future? I feel like would be great insight on the history of the Leafs as well. There's a career. So I interviewed Joe Bowen when I worked for the Leafs briefly doing their podcast for a couple of years. And the thing about Joe is he is interesting, but he doesn't want to talk to you about the Leafs. He wants to talk to you about Notre Dame.
I thought you were going to say the Packers.
And the Packers, but he loves Notre Dame. And like the whole group, his sons, his friends, they all take like a bus trip down to Notre Dame every year and watch the Fighting Irish. And he has called so many Leaf games that he can't remember. And it's like asking us about like, hey, do you remember episode 482 in season 6? It's like, no, I don't. And it's not because you don't want to. It's because they all sort of blend together after a while. So yeah, like you could ask him specific Leafs questions, and I'm sure he gets them all the time. But I think that he would probably say more about eras rather than specific details. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, the Doug Gilmour era, the Sundin era, I think he'd have more broader strokes for you rather than like drilling it down game by game.
Adam, you talked to Joe and Sean Bowen.
Oh yeah, Sean
in
too.
October of 2017.
On your second episode.
You and
Wow.
Sasky Stewart interviewed them for your Blue Line podcast, which was run by the Maple Leafs, and the episode is no longer available because
Wow,
it
the
has
Leafs
been
took it
taken
down.
down.
It's because I swore so much in it. It was like, fuck. The Leafs were like, we can't have that. I didn't
Why would
swear.
you do
I did
that?
not swear.
Welcome
at all.
to fucking.
Hey, fuck it. What the fuck? Where are we fucking doing here?
You know how many people are driving to Christmas dinner right now, and they're like, guys, oh my,
Yeah, no, I don't know why the Leafs took all that stuff.
You guys
down.
only ran for one season there?
We did. We ran for one season, and then they took the podcast off, and Sasky left, and then I was like a reporter for Leafs TV when it existed.
Thanks for having me on.
You had Will Arnett on?
Yeah, we did.
I want to go through some of these names. Chris Hadfield, Darcy Tucker, Will Arnett, Christine Simpson, Andy Petrillo, a tribute to Johnny Bauer. That must have been good. Cassie Campbell.
He was great.
Lance Hornby. Awesome. Christine Simpson.
Also great.
James
I love Christine
Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Talked a little race.
Hinch Daddy.
Do you remember any of these interviews?
Not all of them. Some of them were done like the Will Arnett one was not in person. It was all done like on a phone line.
Right.
Faisal was on.
Basil,
Right.
Wendell Clark.
Caroline. I think Lindsay Hamilton. That was the first time I met
CJ.
Lindsay Hamilton. Amanda Weldon, Mike Valente were the Marlies hosts at that point.
I went to school with
Daryl Siller.
Yeah, Tara
Tara
Sloan.
Sloan. Yeah, that's a good list of season 1.
you guys go out of your way to not interview me or what?
You know what? Actually, we asked, and they said it was going to be too inside between the two of us. And that was when...
Sasky was a friend too.
I know.
All right.
But that was interestingly when... Because we went to that rich Leaf superfan's house, who was a really nice guy. He had a house in like Forest Hill or Rosedale or something.
Mike.
We did the episode from his basement. And
It's insane.
And his house is insane. Like he's got like old like 40s jerseys, like crazy stuff.
I got to visit it once, and he told me that old Leafs would visit his house to see their things.
Wow.
Yes.
Like they're going to the Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the Hall of Fame had put in a bunch of requests for his stuff. They're like, once you're done
No
with that, can we
way.
take it over? So make sure that it goes.
He has like the door to the dressing room. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Like,
there are people that are
oh,
like,
and a toilet. I'm pretty sure he has a toilet.
From Maple Leaf Garden.
Yeah.
there are people that are like, oh, I'm a jersey collector, and you see them, and it's like, okay, well, you've got a bunch of like, I don't know, Tim Brent jerseys and shit like that. That's nice, but like this guy had like, here's Johnny Bauer's jersey from when he won the cup, and here's a picture of him wearing it.
Oh my god.
Like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like and it's made of wool. Like
Yeah.
it's wild.
It's like picture for those of you who are chronically online and Leaf fans, like Curtis from Alberta's basement, but bigger and older, and
Everything's behind glass.
everything's behind glass, and it's I think all game worn.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a level of collection there that you're like, you would have had to work really hard for this. And it was funny because when we went in, he was selling his house, or he had sold his house and was moving out, but he had to move all that shit too. So there was no furniture upstairs, but everything was intact downstairs.
You were telling a story about Steve being inside.
Oh yeah.
There was a point when, and it's interesting because it's completely different now.
Yeah.
And you were working at Sportsnet at that point, but there was a point when you were like, you were a bit persona non grata with the Leafs.
They didn't take me seriously for a while.
Yeah,
and
they
that's
were
okay.
They were like, "Oh, he's just yelly, screaming guy in the basement." And it's interesting now because most of the same PR staff are still there, and they're really great, and you have a great relationship with them. But this was, I think, part of it is you got to earn your stripes.
Yeah.
I got older, and so did they, and they realized I don't bite.
Yeah. Well, this is also when the SDPN channel would have had 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been
We even
just
have
SDP.
one? Like-
we had a YouTube channel at that point.
We had just started.
Yeah, and I don't even know if you'd passed 100,000 subs on your own YouTube channel.
Almost for sure not.
So yeah, so it's a different area.
Yeah, we're gonna come up on we're like 10 years removed from those moments, so like 2015, 2016 era. So
Yep.
yeah, I don't blame them.
No,
a
I don't
long
either.
time ago. Last question. Hopefully it's a good one. Kevin, YYC writes, "Hey guys, I have a question for Steve. I just finished reading your book. This Team is Ruining My Life. Oh, not the new one. What an amazing read it was.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you stay in contact with anyone you used to work with, Audrey, Smitty, Clarkey, etc."
At the zoo?
Yeah, he's asking about zoo people. Right?
Wait, sorry. Say the names again.
Audrey, Smitty, Clarkey, etc.
Audrey.
Doesn't even remember.
No, I think you might have got the name wrong.
I'm reading Audrey.
I'm almost positive you got the name wrong.
Who? The Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin did. Yeah,
He just read it.
Clarkey, yes. Clarkey's a car salesman now, and he does a podcast with Ryan Drury, who's a big Caps fan. They do a good show. I think Ryan has a bright future. Smitty, the editor, who I had such a blast working with at CBC, he unfortunately passed. Yeah, and
Did you do it?
Jesus Christ!
That's
a joke. Come
oh,
on.
God,
No, I found
Trying
out
to take the air out of the room here.
Wow.
I found out from someone else I used to work with. But fuck, I loved Smitty. I loved story time with him, and everyone called him Smitty. I can't remember if I put this in the book, but someone called for Adam Smith, and I turned to him. I go, "Who's Adam Smith?" And he laughed, and then he saw that I was for real, and he's
You hadn't
like,
put that together?
he's like, that's me. I didn't know he had a first name. Like I never even thought about it. It's just
That's
like, oh, that's Smitty. God, he was funny. He was, he was great. No, I stay in touch with a lot of people. I'm not good at unmaking friends, if that makes sense. But as you get older, you drift apart a little bit. But no, yeah, I stay in touch with a lot of people.
Steve behind the scenes says F all these people, especially Audrey.
Hate them. I know. Audrey. I'm trying to think of. Do you mean Andre? Like
Maybe.
who?
There you go.
Like from joining the Rush?
They're not here. You're not. You're asking the question to
Yeah.
the wind.
Hey, do you talk to Andre, the guy that you did?
I do.
Oh.
I do. He now has a dog that looks whatever kind of dog Don Cherry had.
Oh, he had one of those dogs?
Yeah, he has one of those, and I guess they're not common in Russia because all his apparently like he'll take it for walks, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
Yeah, he's as strange as he ever was.
Do you have any more questions for Kevin?
It's a bull terrier, by the way.
Yeah, who the hell's Audrey? Kevin? What are you talking about?
All right, we'll wrap it up here. But there's more episodes coming, including one on Christmas Day.
And that's the
And
next episode.
If you are a VIP, those are still coming out too.
Yep.
So maybe you want to subscribe. And if you do it via Apple, you can get a little discount. You can do a full year subscription for less money. Rip Steve Dangle off. Do it. It's the Christmas spirit, Scrooge.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.